How's it going, everybody? There we go. Sorry for the delay. Good evening, good evening, good evening. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Bear me just a moment. Okay, cool.
If you're on, just put where you're from in the chat. That'd be good. We're super excited about this course. Again, my name is Takia.
I'm Dustin.
And I would say I've been in crypto or invested in crypto since about 2017. It evolved into a lot of researching and things like that because of just the trends of the monetary system. And so this realm of currency is super exciting. There's a lot of information, but it's really the information that we're going to give is to empower you, to put some fire under you, to know that the monetary system is changing and is currently changing, and how to prepare for it. And so this course is basically for you all to just get understanding of just the crypto space, what it is and how you can get involved in it. So we're going to start on the beginner's course of it.
Awesome. So like Takia said, we've been in the crypto space for quite a bit of time now. It's something that, in our whole spectrum of what we're trying to do with Kingdom Rich is really share the insight and the information that we've gathered over the years. We're trading, investing, financial literacy, and kind of give what we can, as much as we can, and pour it all out. So we want to go ahead and today and get started in the beginner's guide to crypto. So we'll go ahead and get started. We see, people joining here.
Okay. What do we got?
We got Reed from Mississippi, Sam's from Minnesota. Sweet. I'm excited. Well, cool. Just to let everybody know, okay, this is live, but it's also going to be recorded. So we'll have that so everybody can go back and revisit it. And I know there's a slight delay on that, but that's quite all right. But we'll go ahead and get started. Anything you want to say before we start?
Yeah. So in putting it all in perspective, the monetary system is changing, and as a family, we want the people who are connected, whether it's personal or virtual, to just empower, to prepare. What you don't know, can hurt you. And we're just here to give and to give out. So we have some vital information, and I think that it will help you.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get started. We don't want to keep you too long. Let's see here. We'll get our presentation up for everybody. And hopefully you can see our screen here.
Give a thumbs up if you can see the screen, or give us a yes or something.
In the comments.
If you can see that would really help us. All right.
Awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and get started here. So again, this is the beginner's guide to crypto. And so what we're going to share is literally from someone who has never experienced crypto or has heard about it, but doesn't know anything about it, all the way. Thank you for the thumbs up, by the way. All the way from just getting started to some experience in it until where we can get to a point where we can take next steps. And so we'll go ahead and get started, and we'll run through what we have. Awesome. So let's go ahead and explore the world of crypto. So here's our course topics, what we're going to talk about today. Again, we're not going to try to keep you too long, but we do want to give you valuable information, something that you can actually utilize and understand, so you could come away with some empowerment from this class. So our course topics are: what is crypto, crypto exchanges, crypto wallets, and also quite a few of the opportunities here in crypto and what we're going to be discussing. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So the first part, we're talking about what is crypto, and we'll be discussing fiat versus digital currency. And fiat itself is the current financial, system that we have at the moment. And digital currency is what we've changed into. What is blockchain technology, and in the old versus the new. and what we are seeing as far as the change from that point. So let's go ahead and get started. And we'll talk about first the history of crypto. And so the history in itself, just of fiat, I'm sorry, history of currency. So the history of currency actually is currency itself is a Latin word that derives from current or flow. And so when we hear currency, it is actually the flow or the exchange of dollars, funds, values, anything that we sell and buy is a current, and it goes back and forth. We buy, we sell, we go to work, and we receive income.
Comes in like a wave.
Yeah, exactly. It comes in, and so that's what currency stands for. It's a Latin word that means exchange or flow. So let's go back. So 3000 BC was the first recorded use of currency, which was shells and which was also beads. And so that was a medium exchange. So when I say medium, what I mean is that everybody agreed that this item or this thing was valuable enough to exchange for anything else. So back 3000 BC, when it was the first recorded in history that the beads and shells were used as currency, that means that region or that territory at the time agreed that it was valuable enough to exchange. So we go ahead and jump forward in the introduction. So from that point, we go from 3000 BC to 700 BC when the Roman Empire, or I'm sorry, the Turkish Empire introduced what coins. And so what we have today, the quarter, the penny, the nickel.
They had like gold coins, silver
Yes,
coins, and things like that.
Exactly. So 700 BC is when that was introduced, the coin system, and we had that for quite a bit of time. So at that time, coins were made of anything that you can, any metal that can be formed was a coin.
Precious.
Jumping forward to the Roman government, when they came into power, they actually introduced and standardized the silver as the currency. And so they started using silver and gold because it actually retained more value for the world at large.
Right.
And so now we had the introduction of silver and gold as metal used for currency. So after that, from that point going forward, 1500 years, we jump all the way over into what's paper dollars. So paper, during this time, the 11th century, is when we have the colonialism. So we start seeing the empires. We started seeing like the British Empire, the Dutch Empire, the Spanish Empire, and these empires who were ruling the world, ruling trade. They started utilizing paper dollars. So really quickly, paper dollars came from all of these coins that these countries and nations had. It was difficult to transport. They were heavy, and it was dangerous because they were being consistently robbed. We watch and we know about Robin Hood. And so when we watch the movie Robin Hood, we see Robin Hood actually stealing from lords and from other leaders in the British Empire at the time and giving to the poor.
Yeah, and he couldn't carry it all because it was so heavy. Yeah, and things like that.
Exactly. And so Robin Hood took advantage of that, where that transport was a problem because of the weight and the transportation of that. And so they switched to paper currency, which allowed them to, when they put their money in the bank, and the bank gave them a note saying, this is how much money you have. Well, they were able to exchange those notes between each other because they were backed in the bank. And so they were able to actually then make more of a easier transition into that type of currency, which we know today as a paper currency. And then going from there, we move forward to a future where in 1913, the United States Federal Reserve was created. That's where we actually have our current system that is existent today, where the U.S. Federal Reserve prints our current U.S. dollar.
I think there's 13 of them right now.
Yes, there's 13 regional Federal Reserves that make up one Federal Reserve, and they actually run our nation, all 13 banks. And so there is one here local where we are in Minnesota. One of the lead ones. So there actually is printed cash here in Minnesota at the central bank. And so going forward from that, so we have the central banks, and from that point, the world started seeing central banks, Central Bank of China, Central Bank of Canada, Central Bank of Japan. All of these different countries started following suit with the United States, and we move forward to then when we have World War I, World War II, and in that, there was a whole debacle of what currency was worth what nation was worth valuable, so on and so forth from that point, where there was issues of whose money was worth what. And so we came to a point where they had in 1944 the Bretton Woods Exchange. And the Bretton Woods Exchange allowed the United States to come into an agreement, essentially where with the rest of the world, they came into an agreement where it's saying, okay, the U.S. dollar and the United States government is empowered to actually be the world power. They are in control. They have the most money, the biggest economy, and in doing so, they decided to back the U.S. dollar to gold. In backing the U.S. dollar to gold, what they did around the world, the Bretton Woods Agreement, then put everybody in a situation where they said, okay, we'll use the U.S. dollar. We'll use that U.S. dollar. And in using that U.S. dollar, um, we'll just use that because we know it's backed by gold. And so that's where the exchange around the world came. I had to do it from the phone. And so then from that point, everyone used it. Well, jump forward to 71, Nixon, we got into a situation where President Nixon was in charge. In being in charge, we're in the middle of the Vietnam War. We're dealing with a financial crisis. Yes, exactly. War. I saw your response here, Sam. We're going to see, when we see another world war, we're going to see an extreme change in currency, and the world powers will shift, and who actually is going to be leading that. That's going to change. Unfortunately, we don't want to live through that and be in that, but that's going. We have to expect that, and we have to prepare for that. And we're going to. And this crypto is a massive part of that. And we'll touch on it more here in the rest of the class. But yes, exactly to your point. So we're in the 1971 Vietnam War. Nixon has a low poll rate. We're dealing with very difficult financial situations, and people are trying to withdraw all of their gold because they don't want to hold dollars anymore, because the United States is running out of money and is in a very, very financial binding situation. So Nixon decides to remove the standard of gold. So now US dollar is no longer backed by gold. So you can't exchange your dollar for gold anymore. He removed it. He suspended it indefinitely, which is essentially removing the entire country. And so then the rest of the world was, well, if their dollar isn't backed by anything, why do we need to back our dollar by anything other than our name and our integrity? And so we switched over to a full fiat currency system, and fiat currency at that time is essentially, and today is worth nothing. It's backed by, my nation is solid and we're a good country, and so we're going to follow through. But it really is just like me saying, hey, you can trust me. Well, maybe, you know what I'm saying? So it's that situation. If I have a track record, then that gives confidence. But if I don't have a track record, then it doesn't give confidence. And so we have to just take their word for it. So fiat currency is now based on nothing. And it actually is in a situation where it's just currency that is just based on the good faith of whatever nation that we use it in. And so that's kind of a brief synopsis of the history of where we are today. And then the last piece to that puzzle is in 2009, when we had the Great Recession, is what they called it, where we had the collapse of the collapse of the we're not there yet. The collapse of the what do we call, the housing bubble collapse, the housing market collapse. Essentially, in a nutshell, what happened is once the actual market collapsed, we were doing subprime mortgage lending. So people who did not qualify for a house were getting houses. They couldn't afford for those houses when the actual market peaked. And so they left. They just got out the house and walked away. They walked away, got an apartment, moved out. And so now the banks who are holding this were essentially left in a situation where they had a bunch of garbage. Nobody can pay for these houses. Nobody could pay for these mortgages. Nobody was going to pay for these mortgages. So the market tanked and collapsed because they were lending to people who weren't qualified. So they couldn't pay for it anyways.
And then there was a type of insurance where people's retirement stocks were light up in that.
Exactly. So they had the bank, these trash mortgages in people's retirement accounts. And so it crashed 45% of people's wealth wiped away. And then we were in this recession for 2 years. Well, in the heat of that, and the frustration of that, people were saying this is not fair because the banks got bailed out. So all of the people who were making these destructive, packages of bad investments and selling it to people, they got rewarded. So they got a pension plan. They were like, you got to quit your business. You got to get out of the business. You're fired. Here, take this $500 million. You're fired. Here's $100 million, and we're going to pay for your lifetime insurance forever. And so that's essentially where it was now. To your point, Stam. So just good question. we're in that same situation. We're not
Yeah.
calling it subprime lending, but we're to the point right now where anybody who has, if you have a credit score that's recorded, doesn't matter what number it is, a lot of people are getting a property. You can qualify. It's just prices have now gotten to a point where they're peaking to where people are refinancing themselves out of the position to be able to afford their homes. And so we're kind of in that place now where we're going to see the turning of the market to where there's more properties available because people can't buy, but there's going to be more renters entering the market. So we're in that state, in that place. We're getting into that place again here in the financials. I mean, in the real estate space. But yeah, so Bitcoin was created out of all of that chaos, and Bitcoin was supposed to be the answer where we're not dependent on a corrupt system in the United States,
Right.
bailing out corrupt people. We want our own currency to do our own thing, and so that's why Bitcoin came into play. So it's still on this slide because if we go to the next thing, so let me show you really quickly here. So this slide is the purchasing power of the United States from 1913 to 2013. So 1913 is when the Federal Reserve was created, and from that point, this is what we discussed. 1944, where the Bretton Woods Agreement, where we stabilized our dollar to gold. 71, when Nixon removed it from the gold standard. And into 2013, the purchasing power has gone down by 95%. So what you could buy a dollar for now, back in 1913 when it was originally set up, it has lost its purchasing power. And so if you go forward to what we have today, 2020, this blue line here on our screen in 2020, what it shows is that this is how much money was printed over the last couple of decades, from 1990 all the way to 2020. And so what we have here is that during the actual COVID, when COVID hit, and the market crashed,
2020 going into 2021,
right?
Yeah.
We printed more money from the bailouts that we gave during that time in 2020 than the entire history of the dollar.
Yes.
So when I say printing money, the United States government, the Federal Reserve, made in 1913, prints money. And so when they print the money, it goes into circulation. Well, when you print too much, everybody has some, it's worthless. When you don't have enough, then everybody needs it and it goes up in value. So when we print a lot, it actually dissolves the value of something because everybody has it. It's like everybody wanting a nice car, but then the nice car is only $100. Well, everybody can get one. Is it nice anymore?
No.
Is it desirable anymore? And so it's the same thing with the dollar. Everybody had access to cash. It crashed the price of the dollar to the point where it was not yielding anything. And so now we have to fix it by raising rates.
And raising the debt ceiling and things like that. So that's what we're in right now. So if you look at the trajectory we're on since COVID, the dollar has been going down and is still going down.
Yeah. And so we've been printing money since 2009. And now what some economists are saying that our nation is a zombie nation because it died in 2009 and we just been putting it on life support by just printing and printing and printing.
Yes.
And we never stop printing. You have to stop printing at some point to let the economy resuscitate. Instead of using the defibrillators, we're just keeping it on life support. So we're not trying to revive the country. We're just trying to just keep it on life support forever and collect the check.
And to answer your question, Sam, yes, the stimulus checks and those SBA loans. I mean, how do you think they was going to get the money? They had to print more.
They printed that money out of thin air and gave it out China.
So let's look at China. Their money is backed by gold. So what does that tell you?
Right.
There's going to be a switcheroo here in the world powers.
That's a technical term. Switcheroo.
So
one last slide here, and then we're going to go to the next part. So 2020, when the bailouts were going on, we had what is it called? The Heroes. What was it called? No, it wasn't the Heroes Act. What was the one before it? So I gotta remember what it was, but during the stimulus of 2020, when they were putting out the new bill for that entire $1 trillion stimulus package, they actually put in some of the regulation here where it says the digital dollar. And the digital dollar essentially is that the United States was trying to sneak in the change from the current fiat system because it was broken and unrecoverable to the digital dollar system, which is a new monetary system, which is back sits on blockchain, and it is crypto. And it was whistleblown.
Right. That they weren't going to tell the public about it.
They just
but
slid it into the CARES Act.
Yeah, the CARES Act. So,
That's what it was.
the CARES Act is like, it's like a stack this high of just
Thousands of pages.
Yes. And somebody was reading and found this. You can read at the top. It says Section 101, direct stimulus payments for families. Section number 2, it says digital dollar wallet.
Yes.
And that was going to come out in midstream of COVID.
Yes, they would have forced everybody on.
They would have forced everybody into without telling them.
Yeah.
And so, what do you think that would have done for the people who are not even in the know?
Yeah. So your dollars would have been worthless. So you're walking around with cash. Your cash would have been worthless. Your cash would have been unacceptable. They would have took it, but they would have never been able to issue it back to you. And then also, eventually, they would have shut it off where they won't receive it anymore. We got to a point in 2020. Where they said, we don't have any more change. We're not taking change. We're not taking cash. Cash is dirty. We're not taking it. You can catch COVID on money.
They was about to push it out.
Yeah.
Because remember how they were talking about, okay, we're not taking cash because they may be COVID on them or whatever. The exchange of dollars. They were trying to just kind of prepare people, or not necessarily prepare people, but to kind of soft launch it.
No, it was overnight underneath.
It was going to be an overnight thing, but somebody whistleblowed.
Yeah,
and so that's
so we've tracked it, but they we were able to get a screenshot of it.
But we was able to get a screenshot before they actually just pulled it off. So,
but yeah, Sam, to your point, retirement money, they would have switched over the systems and switched everybody to a new currency. That doesn't mean that the actual so what happens if we actually switched over in the middle of the night to an entirely new monetary system, the market would have crashed as a response to that. And when somebody found out, the market did dip. Of course, COVID, it did during
looks like we're frozen.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and move.
All right. So the next topic we're going into is digital currencies. So basically, I'm just going to explain where we were, and where we're at now. So if you could say about like in the 1980s, we were still dealing with paper money. And we went from paper money into writing checks, and checks, you write a check and they put it through the system, and that was kind of digital, but it really wasn't. And then the whole thing of a ledger. So when people would say, hey, I'm on my lunch break, I'm going to balance my checkbook, or hey, I need to balance my checkbook. Okay. Like back then people would say, I have this much money and I bought X, Y, and Z, and they'll do add and subtract or whatever. So just keep that in mind. That was considered a ledger. Then we evolved into debit cards and credit cards. If you can go back in time, what they were doing with the credit cards, they didn't have like the metal strip on there. They just only had just the credit card number, your debit card number, and what they did was put it up on the machine and just kind of carbon copied the number. And that was a way of them transacting a credit card in that sense. Then from there, and then you still had to kind of keep a ledger for yourself, even though credit cards came into play. So just think of it as, okay, we need to prepare the population. So what are we going to do? We're going to soft launch this thing. So they soft launched it as that, where they would carbon copy the credit card. And then from there, guess what they did? they added a metal strip. And then now technology changed, and now they're swiping. And they have commercials. Swipe your card, right? And so in that, you had to create a bank account, right? But instead of you manually writing your transaction, the bank, with the transaction of those cards, was able to keep a ledger for you, was able to give you your checks and balances and where you're at in your account and things like that. Then it evolved to the magnetic strip, to the chip.
Mm-hmm.
So now think about the chip. So we're on a chip, and what they say, oh, just tap your chip, just put your chip on there.
Safe.
Put your chip on there, and it still holds your ledger. It still keeps your transactions, that type of thing. And so when you look at that, now what are they doing? Now it's going from something tangible to you put in your wallet to now being on your phone. And so now that you're able to house your cards on your phone, you could do Apple Pay, Google Pay. You can now do Cash App. Oh, side note, Fed Now is going to be out in June, which is another way to soft launch people into the digital form of currency. And so when you put that in perspective, you see how money has changed. Now we went from keeping our transactions on we went from dollars,
cash,
to checks. You keep in a ledger of your bank account. You had a bank account, but you didn't log in. People just kind of just kept it on a checkbook. Came with the strip. Now they house all your transactions, and they have all your transactions to the chip. Now to your phones. So what do you think is next? They're right. So when you put all that in perspective, you see how fast that happened. So you went from 1980, 1990 to the 2000s to where we're at now currently. So people are using their phones, people are using their watches, Cash App, just different forms of payment, which is now digital.
So explain that a little more.
You can explain Fed Now.
Yeah, really quickly. So the Fed Now is coming June 1st, is my understanding. Fed Now essentially is a 24. So and this is actually jumping ahead a little bit.
It's okay.
But the Fed Now is their blockchain technology. They are, without saying it, launching blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
It now allows people, instead of you have the 3-day ACH, where you do something, you got to wait 3 days or 5 days to get it. Now it's instantaneous, it's overnight, it's verifiable, just exactly like the functionality of blockchain and crypto. So what it is now you have the Fed Now transacting 24/7, just like crypto, as opposed to these limitations and delays. And what you're doing is building out the infrastructure for the transition to a digital dollar. So essentially there was 2 banks that crashed and collapsed that had this technology already. It was Signature Bank, and the other one was these Silver. What was it? The other one that crashed? So Signature Bank and the other one, Silicon Valley Bank. Those were the 2 banks that offered 24-hour payments. People who banked with these banks were large crypto firms who needed to transact crypto to current fiat and fiat to crypto. And they have to do that all night, all day, all night, all day, because crypto doesn't stop trading. They had this technology built into their infrastructure. This is in direct competition with the Fed Now. So now all of a sudden, these banks have collapsed and they no longer have any money, and they've been taken over by the federal government.
Right. Federal monopoly. You're correct. Exactly.
Yeah. So the ACH system, Sam, is going away. And yes, it's a federal monopoly. Correct. They don't want anybody else playing in the space, in the game, which is why the SEC is pressuring so many and suing so many crypto companies that are in competition with the Fed Now and with the SEC's regulating of that, because they don't want any competition. They are up against the digital yuan, which is Chinese. China has already transitioned to their digital currency.
Yeah, they already have it.
There's probably over 148 countries have already implemented or are pushing or starting the research for their own digital currency. United States is slow to the game, but they will rather destroy their own than to actually go after other countries. And so they actually collapse these banks. They won't say it. They won't say they did. They would just say it's unsafe. But now here's the thing: they have banned banking systems or banks, institutions, that anybody who does business in crypto, anybody who functions in crypto, you are not allowed to bank these companies if they have anything to do with crypto. Because again, it's in direct competition with the dollar and with the systems that they're implementing. And so it really is a fight for the United States to stay in power. But they're already losing because they're fighting themselves. It's an internal fight. We're fighting against our own. And so because that, we're in a situation. So now that's rolling out very shortly, and they're going to force people to accept it.
Yeah, June 1st. So
yeah, they're making the bank switch over first, and then they're going to make customers switch over.
And that's why we were like, okay, we need to let, just sound the alarm, let people know, and just help however we can. So just to continue, so when I was explaining how money changed and evolved and how we have the peer-to-peer, so you got Cash App, which is peer-to-peer. You've got Venmo, which is peer-to-peer. What's the other one, Bank of America, that we use? Zelle, which Venmo, which is peer-to-peer. So now, if you open up your eyes, you can actually see how we're transitioning, and how they're kind of like soft launching with the public. And so FedNow is coming. Guess what else is also coming? Web3 is coming. Web3, I'll tell you this, I work in the medical field, and a lot of companies are transitioning over to Web3, because Web3 houses blockchain. Web3 houses crypto as far as a form of money. There's a lot of that, backdooring. So like if you go on their websites, like some of these pairs like Blue Cross Blue Shield or things like that, they are ramping up for Web3. They're updating their systems to be compatible or to completely change over to Web3. And of course, even cloud, XRP is a coin that you can get on Coinbase, and they are revolutionizing the banking system. They are partnering with banks. I could tell you this, in December, I think it was December last year, we had Wells Fargo, we had Bank of America, some of these large bank, RBC, I think HSBC, they are preparing wallets, digital wallets for the public. So they soft launched it. Mm-hmm. So if that was back in November, December, and we're like 6 months in the year, FedNow is coming in June. Oh my gosh. When you look at the general public, do you think that the general public is ready? No, I don't think we are. And we need to get on the horn, right? We need to get this information so that we can empower and then also thrive. We don't want to be surviving. We want to thrive. And so that's what we're doing. We're giving the information that we have, exactly, to empower so that we can thrive in this climate. And then, so I'll continue. So we're going to go into blockchain technology. We're going to go to the next slide. Just 1 second. Okay. I think there's another example. Okay. So blockchain technology. So when I was talking about the ledger and how the bank houses your transactions. So just keyword transactions. So when you look at the blockchain, just break it down. You have a block and you have a chain, and it's on the internet, or Web3. It's on the internet. Web3 is blockchain technology, right? So what happens is the computer, or AI, or I would just say computer, when there's a transaction made, it starts a block. and the block holds up a certain amount of transactions. And once that block is filled, then a chain is connected to the next block. So you have block, chain. In one block, there are all the transactions, which is a ledger. And then it connects to another chain once it's filled, to the second and third. But the thing is, with the blockchain, the transactions cannot be altered, the transactions cannot be deleted, and the transactions are stored in the block. No matter how many years goes on, we can always trace the transaction back to the first block.
It's immutable. So it's always.
It's always, like Dustin said, it's immutable. Blocks, the block, they also have a signature that links, which is the chain, to the previous block. So that's why I said it can go from block 1 chain to block 2 chain, and so on and so forth. But you can go back to 3, 2, 1 and find that initial transaction in the first block. Exactly. Just making sure that everybody's on the same page with that. And you could go ahead.
Cool. So yeah, so as a synopsis to what Takia was saying, blocks store all transactions. That's what a blockchain is. It's a block that stores every transaction. The blocks have a limit to how much they can store, and once they reach that limit, they create a new block. So in this image that we have up, block number 1, block number 2, block number 3. So each one, you see, if you see where it says hash, that first hash in that first block is a signature of that block. That's the Genesis block. So when it runs out of space, say it has 1,000 transactions in it, it creates a new block. That new block is always have that signature of the first. So you can see how they connect. So the signature from the first block is in the second block.
It starts the second block.
Yeah, exactly. And so you consider that hash as the social security. And so it attaches to the second block to say, okay, this is where I came from. It always has that generational line. Well, now the new block has its own hash or its own social. And so when the next block after it's created, it goes back and it says, okay, well, this is where I came from. So then that way people can't come and break the chain because it's always linked by having some signature from the previous block.
Right. And the blockchain is just not your transaction. It's exactly. Worldwide.
It's all transactions.
All transactions worldwide, from United States to China, all the transactions of the world. And this is the blockchain technology, which I call alien technology because I'm like, where did this come from? But it's not just your transaction. It's everyone's transaction around the world. So you could say that's like one world currency.
Exactly. Exactly. So if you look at it like this, right? All around the world. So here's the thing about blockchain. The chain itself, and I'll jump into the next part, which is the network that'll explain this. So essentially the block itself houses all the information. Well, the beautiful thing about this information is it's actually global. Everybody around the world can see it. Everybody around the world can actually verify it. Everybody around the world, there's no central organization. So if I put money in my Bank of America account, nobody else knows that. But if I put money in my crypto wallet, everybody can know it, even though they don't know who I am, where I live, what's my name, who, the wallet belongs to me. It's verifiable across the board. This crushes the counterfeit problem. So there's no fake transactions. There's no fake crypto in that regard. It's purely everybody, so all of the miners, they verify these transactions. So for example, if I was to give Takia on the blockchain 1 Ethereum token or 1 Bitcoin, it had to be verified by miners. Miners essentially are those, and this is where I probably have to explain the hash rate, but miners are those who decrypt the transaction code, verify that it's legitimate, and then all of these miners say, okay, it's legitimate. So let's go ahead and yes, it's confirmed this is a real transaction. And when that happens, then it's not one witness, one person. So for example, if I put my $1 in Bank of America and Bank of America goes down and loses my dollar, it's my word versus their word. But in blockchain, if I gave Takia 1 crypto, 1 Bitcoin, there's thousands of people who can verify that because it's not housed in one place. It's not housed on one server. It's all around the world. That's what makes up the network. That's what makes it up. So exactly, all transactions are visible to everybody. We don't actually need to know who it is, where it came.
There's no names on it.
There's no names. You're known by your wallet address.
Your wallet address.
And that's it. And so that's what makes it so transparent. So when so back in 2009, when everything collapsed and people wanted their own money to make their own exchanges and build their own financial system and network, this was the most transparent way. I sent you the money. Everybody sees it. I can see it. You can see it. Everything's completely transparent. So if I know my wallet address and I know hers because I know where I'm sending it, it's verifiable across the board. So there's a fair exchange there for people. So with that being said, miners are the ones who verify the transaction. So let me explain in the network and the encryption, because in cryptocurrencies that crypto part, crypt stands for encryption, secure, safe. So we can see his wallet. We just don't know that it is his wallet.
We said we will be able to see Jay-Z's wallet.
Yeah. So we can see everybody's wallet. Right. We just don't know. It doesn't say who they are. It's just their wallet address.
Just their wallet address.
So if you happen to then be able to say, I know his wallet address, and then you can find it, you can see it. Yeah. So if I gave my wallet address out, which again is not a problem because nobody can take anything there because it's all encrypted. Nobody can just go and see my wallet and take stuff out. They don't have my keys. They don't have my codes. They don't have the access.
Which we'll get into.
Yeah, we'll get into that in the wallet section here. So even if I share my address, it's mine, you can see what's in my wallet. You can see what transactions I've done because it's completely open and completely verifiable.
Yeah, you could become a miner.
And even miners don't know who's who. But it doesn't mean it's still secure, it's safe, it's fair, it's and it's open. So let me I'm sorry, let me go into what crypto and encryption is. So crypto, that word crypt is encryption, meaning secure, safe, locked.
Kind of like McAfee. In a way.
Yeah, exactly. So let me explain it. So if you have like a regular lock where you're locking, say, a gate, you have the lock where it just clips in, press it down, and it locks the gate. You have a key. So if you put that key in and unlock, it'll unlock. And then you can actually put that key and lock it, and it'll lock it. That's that key. That's the key that most encryption codes have, right? That's not what crypto does. Crypto goes beyond that in a way where it's a lot more secure. So this is the way crypto works. If you have a lock, there's one key that locks it, and that's it. That main key that everybody sees. So that's the key that I can send you money. That's the key that I can see and send you something. So it locks it. But then I personally have a key that nobody else can ever access. Imagine that lock is my lock. And if you want to, the only thing that everybody else can do is lock it, but they can't open it. So it's a public key to lock that key. So there's one key to lock it. And then I have a key that unlocks it. Well, there's two keys now to make that lock work. One key only locks, one key unlocks. I have the unlock key and it's linked to me. Here's the thing about crypto. And here's the thing about Bitcoin and everything else. It has such a secure locking mechanism that since I have the only key that can unlock that lock, nobody on the planet can. I have it. That key is then broken up into 100 pieces. And so I have to put that key together every time. This is how Bitcoin works. This is how secure it is. That my key, when I talk about miners, my key is not only my key, it is broken up into a bunch of pieces. And so I have to assemble that key and then unlock. Yeah, exactly. But see, here's the thing about the keys. The keys are 12 to 24 words. So imagine this. When you open up a new wallet, you have 12 to 24 actual words that make up your ledger. That your keys to your wallet. And we're going to go deeper into that. But we see it as 12 words. It's actually one giant key word. Yeah. Imagine taking 24 words and putting them all together as one thing. That is what your key is. That's your encryption
It's
key.
your passcode.
So if people, unless you tell somebody, hey, look at my private keys, it is extremely, extremely difficult to decrypt and access that key. Really hack to get that key. I mean,
yeah, you can talk about the guy that you remember he couldn't remember his keys. He gave one part, he lost one part of it.
No, that's somebody else. But I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So there was a guy bought Bitcoin, Ethereum back in it was Bitcoin.
It was Bitcoin.
Back in 2010. Stored it on a hard drive. Had his keys on a piece of paper. Fast forward to 2020, market takes off, pushing towards 60,000. He got his coins. He probably had $40 million worth of Bitcoin at that point.
Yeah.
And could not find his keys.
He could not find his keys.
And because they're so secure, nobody can help him. Nobody can unlock it. Nobody can research it. Nobody can backtrace it, reverse engineer it.
You can't even call technical support. There's no such thing. There's no support.
That's
in the crypto space.
So he has $40 million he cannot access.
Because he don't know, he lost his keys.
Because he didn't keep hold of his keys, and because it's so encrypted that nobody else can tell him what his keys are. So remember your keys.
Remember your keys. We're going to get into that because it's the whole thing of empowering.
Yeah. Everyone. So to this point, blockchain is an extremely secure network, and it's thoughtful where it connects. So it's transparent for everybody, but then it's also connected in a way where nobody can access it. And then you also are privately able. Right. Exactly, Sam.
So this,
but yeah, to that point. So that's what it is. And so in a nutshell, it's miners and stakers validate those transactions to make sure they're legit. It's global around the world. So there's a miner in the United States, and then there's a miner in China, and a miner
anybody
in Germany.
can mine it.
It's as long as you can you can access the network and have the right proper system to do it, you can do it, and it's decentralized. So that's essentially the network that builds upon.
And one thing I would like to say is that when you're dealing with social media and the media, they're trying to discourage the public with crypto, because the thing is, they're trying to get their foot in. They're trying to get wedged in. So what are they going to do? They're just going to discourage the masses
to get out.
So
they can get in.
So that they can get in. So you can't fall for it, because your position, your posture in it, don't be fearful about it. You can't listen what the media is telling you, about it. It's happening. It's here. And if people are losing power, what are they going to do? They're going to trample on people so that they can get their foot in. So just keep that in mind. This is revolutionary for us to get this information and to share it. You're ahead of the game. So just keep that in mind. Just to continue, revolutionary. It is revolutionary technology. Like I was saying, a lot of it's invading every sector, the education sector, medical. I will say that, how like you would have to sign a document for your medical records. You can actually house all your medical records on the blockchain and encrypt it. And if you want them to have it, you can have your own medical records. It's going to be different. It's going to, what's going to happen, instead of the hospital housing your medical records, you're going to leave with your medical records, and it's going to be encrypted. And you are the one to decide, who I'm going to send my medical records to.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And that's dealing with the keys. That's dealing with your encryption or your codes and things like that. Just like how we have, so just like how we have passwords to our email addresses and things like that. Just think about it like that for the crypto wallet. It's the same thing. But the only thing is nobody can hack it. So your medical records and things like that, your banking, of course, even in the pharmaceutical realm, you have all your records. You know what medications you're taking, X, Y, and Z, and things like that. Um, the blockchain is invading even in the logistics. Blockchain is invading even in commerce. I know that we have a couple of family members that was asking about Bitcoin. She's a hairdresser. She's like, "Can I accept Bitcoin?" Well, I need my site to be able to house it, right? So if you think about Web3, what they're going to do, you're going to be able to connect your wallet to just say like an H&M. You connect your wallet, you can make the transaction. I'm only throwing that out there. But
shopping.
But like for commerce, even for grocery shopping, it's coming. If you go to
It's here.
it's already here. If you go to if you go into Cubs, if you go into even some of these gas
Walmart.
stations, they already have crypto
ATM
machines.
Yep.
Go and explore the gas station. Go and explore that little front end right where they have the coins and they want your coins, right? Right next to it, there's a machine that will let you buy and trade Bitcoin, I think Dogecoin, a whole bunch of other coins, Ethereum. It's here. Go and take a tour and you will see it. So just throwing it out there, it's already here.
No, for sure. It's just, yeah, it's already functioning. It's already here. It's already happening. It's already in our face. Let me jump to this article right here. So this is a quote by Brock Pierce, which is an investor. He said, the right way to think about the blockchain is that it is going to replace the entire internet. And that's what Web3 is. Web3 is all things on the blockchain. And we're already building that infrastructure there. Let me jump to this next article. This actually happened on May 5th. So BNP Paribas is one of the largest banks in France. One of the largest banks in France will link the digital Chinese yuan to bank accounts for promoting their CBDC. A CBDC is a centralized central bank digital currency. So a central bank digital currency is a fancy word for well, yeah, but it's a fancy word for currency. So the US dollar, the digital dollar is what they're going to call it probably, or they're going to call it USDC for USD current digital currency.
Yeah.
Is essentially a CBDC. So a CBDC, again, a central bank digital currency, which is essentially the central bank is the one who issues digital currency. And that's going to be what we're all forced to use. And so now you got France, who is now linking Chinese digital dollars to bank accounts so people can promote the use of China's dollar. So that's two fold, because that means that people are moving away from the US dollar to Chinese dollars or any other dollar, but mainly Chinese dollars. That's number one, which means that the dollar is losing its value as far as a global power. And then the second thing here is that now they're pushing the digital dollar. Here's the problem with a certain digital dollars. Cryptocurrency is amazing. It is a real, it's critical, I think, to our financial future. But when you have central banks who want to control everything and who will destroy their own people, as we already know, destroy their own banks in their own country, when they are in control, then that means they have full access to where your money is, how you spend your money. They can turn your money off when they have an issue with you or you're on a blacklist. They can say, oh, so you're suspended. They can't buy or sell anything for 14 days.
Think about Kanye. Think about
they turned off. So Kanye made a point where when he had to deal with all of the stuff that he was dealing with, Apple and Google turned off his Apple and Google Pay. And so he could not use digital currency. He had to carry cash. He had to have a credit card.
Yeah, and, or another card.
Yeah, and certain credit companies were, distanced themselves from him because of, what was going on with him.
Canceled his card.
And it wasn't even about he wasn't good for it. They knew he had the money. They knew that he could pay for the stuff that he was buying, but they didn't want to be associated. Now, when it becomes a social issue and has nothing to do with your actual current financial standing, or you're a criminal and they just have a problem with your social perspective, they could just turn your money off. Because now that everything is on the Fed, now that everything is on the blockchain, and that blockchain is central. You know how?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah. So currently, Crypto is decentralized. When the Fed now produces their Fed now blockchain, it's going to be centralized. Everything goes to them. Everything runs to them. That's how it is now. That's how they want it to stay.
And we're gonna we'll get to the whole thing of centralized and decentralized
next.
which is actually next. The other thing about FedNow, your employers are actually making the pivot.
They have to.
They have to make the pivot.
Yep.
So just FYI, so wherever you're working, just know that your employer will be paying you through FedNow.
I'm just gonna nod my head.
Say? So do you think what happened to the well, you know, you could just answer that. I mean, you just put it in perspective. I mean,
yeah, just pull. Just
be a detective. You can see the signs. You know.
Yeah, the timing.
The timing was impeccable.
Yeah.
If I could say that.
So let me run through this really quick because we want to make sure we keep going. We're getting up in time. So let me go ahead and go through this really quick. So the new financial markets. TradFi, which is traditional finance, versus DeFi, which is the new, decentralized finances with the world we live in. We'll go ahead and talk about it really quick. So stock market versus crypto market. So the stock market itself, it looks like my stuff was gone, but I know off the top of my head. Yeah. The stock market is traditional finance where you have a company list publicly on the stock exchange. You can buy and sell, highly regulated. You can only trade from, 9:30 to 4. You can't do any before or after market hours unless you have special clearance, which is limited to, just a specific group of individuals. When it comes to crypto, you can trade anywhere you want to, at any time you want to, with any person you want to, because it doesn't matter who they are. As long as it's there and there, you transact and it's done. It's a clear, handshake and the transaction is done. It's verified all through a, smart contracts,
right?
Which is, algorithms, and they just shake hands. They don't care who you are, what you look like, where you're from, what your credit score is. They just shake hands. So now you can trade crypto the same way you trade stocks and still also find there's more volatility. So there's more opportunity. You don't have to have as much capital to get started. As far as stock market, you always got to, learn your risk, learn the skill, learn from somebody who can teach you. Yeah. But it's still, there's opportunities now in crypto where you can see more returns. And we're speaking from experience where we've seen very, very, very large returns because we've been able to capitalize on some of the things that we've been led by the Holy Spirit, but research and to get into that stuff. Old banking, and I'm rushing through this because I want to make sure we get to the more, the other parts which are the very
crypto
important.
Part of it.
Yeah. So old banking versus new banking. Old banking, you put your money into the bank. They lend it out and they give you a minuscule penny and say, thank you, here's a coin.
Here's 0.05 for your savings account.
They throw you some dust, some corn, some crumbs,
some salt.
And then they say, thank you for all your money and we're going to lend it out, and then when they lose all your money, they're going to be like, hey, number one, we have an insurance company that will bail us out when we're, mismanaging your funds, which is the FDIC. And they'll give you up to $250,000. And then the other thing is if the insurance company don't work, the government will bail us out. So we don't really have any regulations. So
they're in a win-win.
Yeah. Wells Fargo had to pay $55 million last year because of fraud. And they just like, okay. And they pay it. And then they're allowed to be a bank.
They got a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, they're like, hey, don't do that. $55 million. Now people's credits are shot and messed up and jacked up. And they got to rebuild their credit. But all we got to do is pay $55 million. No big deal. And they get to still be a bank. In the new banking system, which is crypto, us as crypto holders,
retailers,
and not even retail anymore, just investors.
True. Yeah.
We have access to do everything that the banking system do. We can take our crypto and lend it out and get an interest rate. We can actually now deposit. We can actually make money on our deposit. We can actually invest in those different things that the bank systems did not allow us to bank in. So I can do, where I can lend out my crypto and get an interest rate. I can get a crypto loan without having a credit check and without having, a background check and get a loan because I have capital and then I can use that and change it to real cash and use that cash to go and purchase whatever asset I need to. I have access to credit cards in crypto and debit cards in crypto.
Yeah.
I can be, it literally allows us as the person to be banks and bank our own
To be
funds.
your own bank.
I can transition and do business anywhere in the world with crypto because it's not limited to just one thing. You could transact Bitcoin in any place on the planet. And it's not just Bitcoin. There's so many different currencies that you can use.
Right.
You can literally, like we have a close family member who had removed themselves from the banking system. Very wealthy, removed themselves from the banking system and does not operate with the regular banks.
No.
So they move a little bit of what they need to do business back into fiat. Their whole entire existence is out in crypto. Secure, locked, safe, stored, increasing, making investments, growing, the whole thing, the whole shebang. And so that's a whole space that we have to shift into, because when they come down with regulation, we're not going to have that access. So we got to move quickly. And then the last thing is crypto adoption. A lot of the world is now adopting crypto. We got now 15% of the United States.
Yeah, because when we started, I think it was 2%.
Almost 2%.
Like almost 2% when we started. Only 2% of United States knew about crypto. Where are we at now? 15%
of the United States
is
adopted, owns crypto. Yep. And then we have 4.2% of the world.
4.2, of the world.
We have a whole lot more opportunity here. If you get into crypto early and then the world adopts, the value of that stuff goes up. Because you become very wealthy by holding and accumulating certain coins. And then you become an investor in the beginning, hold these coins, and then they go up in value when others start investing and seeing the value in them. That's why we want to share this stuff.
And that's what really prompted us to just, do what we're doing in that sense.
Because we've experienced it.
So basically right now, what the banks were doing with our money, we can actually do it for ourselves.
Yes.
And we have the information and we want to share the information so that we can empower you guys.
You can do things like purchase property with crypto.
Real estate is transitioning over to crypto.
Before that.
Yes. I think Miami, South Florida is crypto friendly.
You can pay your taxes in crypto.
You could pay your taxes in crypto in Miami. Yes. I think in Tennessee, I think they've adopted it in Texas, Tennessee. Yep. So it's here. So we're not going to be the ones that don't know. So here's my favorite part.
Okay, hold on. Let me jump to these slides really quick, and then we'll get to the next part. That's the kid's favorite part. So really quick, 2021. This is the S&P 500. At the end of the year, the whole entire market, the S&P 5 had a good year, and it went up 28.6%. So if you put in $10,000, you made $2,867 in 2021, which is not a bad return on your investment. 28% is really, really good for the stock market. But in comparison, if you put your money in Ethereum, you made 270.68%. So here's the difference. If you put $10,000 into S&P 500 in 2021, you held it from January all the way to December, you made $2,867 on your $10,000 investment. If you had invested $10,000 in Ethereum at the beginning of that same year with all of the ups and all of the downs, you would have made
27.
No, you would have ended up
200%.
200%. So you would have been up $30,000.
Almost $30,000
off your $10,000.
Off your $10,000 investment.
So they're drastically different.
Mm-hmm. And in the crypto space, it's very, very volatile.
Yes.
Also,
it moves a lot, and so it gives you a lot of opportunities if you're patient and you know what you're doing and know what you're looking for. And then here's the last thing: TradFi versus DeFi. This is just a model so you can see it.
So TradFi is traditional finance.
Yes, traditional finance. Everything runs from the central bank. Lenders, central bank. Investors, central bank. Institutions, central banks. Borrowers, central bank. DeFi, there's no central. Peer-to-peer. Everybody's everything.
Peer-to-peer.
Investors are borrowers who are linked to lenders who are linked to institutions. They all work together. There's no central space. And so everybody can be everything and get the same outcome from all of that. So let's go ahead and jump into crypto exchanges. Appreciate your patience on everything. We got a lot to cover. We're not trying to...
Thumbs up if you want us to keep going.
Yeah.
or just send something in the chat. So, you
Yeah, let
know,
us know where
we're
this is good. If we're going over your head, if it's too much information, let us know. We want to make sure that we're pouring out in a way though that, you know, people can digest and
yeah.
take it and understand it. So yeah, just let us know.
Okay. So, crypto exchanges. So this is where we're breaking down how to be your own bank, centralized versus decentralized. So right now we're going to talk about centralized exchanges. What is a centralized exchange? It is centralized finance. So if it's an actual institution, if I could say it like that. So when you're looking at crypto exchanges, you're looking at like a Coinbase. You're looking at a I think we have a slide for that, right? So we're looking like at a Coinbase, crypto.com, a Robinhood, Binance. So there's a few on the screen, KuCoin, Kraken. So those are centralized exchanges for crypto. Now, with the centralized exchange, it provides services to trade, to buy, to sell, and to sell fiat or crypto. So just imagine like a Bank of America, but it's not. So you still have to go to an institution, still have to log into an institution. So anything that has to deal with an institution is considered centralized. They make it easy for the end user. Where you could go on the site, you could log in, you can buy, you can sell, you can with the CFI. Looks like there are 15 U.S. Financial regulatory agencies, and every state has their own regulations.
So let me explain that part right there. So United States has such a overwhelming and frustrating financial system where you go to one country like Great Britain, you go to Britain, you go to London, you go have a good time, you go see Big Ben. They have one agency that regulates finance in their country. One. You come back to the United States, and they have 15 U.S. financial regulatory bodies that tell you that run money. 15, and they don't get along. They don't share information. No. They don't work together. They don't actually operate and function together. 15 of them. They have their own different rules and regulations of how they actually function here in the same country we all live in, on top of every state having its own financial regulatory body and set of rules.
We don't know why.
Control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, control.
They don't want anything outside of that. So it's confusion, it's frustration, but it really goes back to United States is literally just like the whole foundation was cash. It was about money. Mm-hmm. That's the whole thing was about capitalism. I mean, it's good and it's bad, but it was money. And so that's why. So why not control the money with 15 different agencies that you have to pay taxes for?
That you have to pay taxes for.
I'm done.
But some of the benefits of the CFI or centralized exchanges is the ease of use. You can download an app. You can use it on your iPhone or Droid, right? Okay. Fiat to you could do a conversion on there, which is easier. So basically, the centralized exchange. This is the institution way of still kind of keeping the old system in play.
Right, in
crypto now. Yeah. It's the old system that they're still trying to integrate because they need their foot in, they want power. So what they do is just kind of the same way what we see now with our fiat. Just look at it as it's the same thing, but it's crypto. So you have these institutions that have their way of customer support, or however they'll have like a technical support, all that stuff. They have all those wonderful things for you, but it's not empowering you. It's not allowing you to be your own bank and all that stuff. So basically, they're the bank. but it's the centralized way of crypto, but they're still the bank, and it doesn't empower you to be the bank. You're depending on them to house so that you could be able to exchange. They'll flip your stuff, your money on the crypto exchange.
Yeah, they'll take your crypto
They'll
and
take your
stake it
crypto and stake it,
and make money and then give you a piece.
and then give you a little
What's
smidget.
that sound like?
It sounds like a bank, right?
That's
So
exactly what a bank
so
does.
just know a centralized exchange is a bank. It's an institution. Again, the benefits is ease of use. Another benefit, there's customer support, technical support. It's an easy crypto swap conversion. Some of the cons. One of the thing is you have to give your personal data. They want it. They want your KYC. So KYC is your personal data. They want your name, your address. They want if you have your
Yeah, so KYC stands for Know Your Client.
Right, know your client.
And so they need to know everything about you. Social Security, where you live, where was your last 5 years, who's your mama, who's your daddy, who's your favorite friend, where you spend your money, where you got your credit cards at, all that stuff.
So just the same as the bank, right? So transparency is not available in the centralized exchange, right?
It's not available.
It's not available. There are higher transaction fees. So just like an institution, just like how they charge, oh, you need to have like $2,000 in your account. If you don't, we're going to charge you $10 a month.
Yep.
They could do whatever they want because they are the bank, but for crypto. So just know that. Even though it's easy to use and things like that, and it's user friendly and things like that. So people who may not understand crypto, they could just do the basic stuff and still own crypto. But then you got these fees, and there's so much involved in that. They have custody. Where am I? Custody of your funds, just like how you have Wells Fargo, not bad mouthing banks or anything like that. But
yeah, not on this YouTube live. We're
not on this YouTube live. We're not doing that. But we're just pointing it out that they have custody of your funds. So like if you go to the bank and they say they close. That's it. They got your money. You can't take, you could go to the ATM, but if you need to take a large amount out, you have to do it during their business hours.
Yep,
and when they want to operate and things like that. So that's one of the other cons about the centralized exchange. The centralized exchange do have wallets, which we'll get into it. So being that they have custody of your funds, then you don't necessarily own it. So if they want to just go offline and say, oh, we're under maintenance, then
right,
you have no access. So just to explain some of those things, they have censorship, and they can freeze people out assets.
Not they can, they have.
And
they have frozen assets. They have frozen crypto.
Yeah.
And they have actually blacklisted people out and censored them from being able to participate in crypto.
So that's pretty much the breakdown of centralized. Just know that a centralized exchange is an institution. So you got Coinbase, Crypto.com, you got Webull, you've got KuCoin and Binance, and some of the ones up here that we're explaining. So
I want to share this right here. So this was a major headline back in last year, November. One of the major companies, FTX, which was a popular and very well accepted crypto exchange, central exchange, went bankrupt for taking people's funds. So they took customer funds and invested in a very risky very risky, over leveraged positions, and lost all their money. Lost it. And so they collapsed. And
that's a centralized exchange.
This is well over $20 billion that were just gone, just lost. And so that's centralized when there's one individual. Like central is there's a point of failure where if that thing breaks, everything breaks. So in this case, it was the leadership team made corrupt decisions with people's funds that they weren't supposed to, and everything collapsed. And so That's just a point of a con for central exchanges. They blacklist people, Sam, because social problems, because they may be flagged for, like there's so in a perfect world, somebody who's dealing, arms dealer, corrupt arms dealer, terrorist, in that case, they want to blacklist them. But in today's society,
You can blacklist
it's whatever
whoever.
they, for whatever reason they want.
If you speak against
It doesn't
a
matter what it
sector, it
is.
doesn't even
You
matter.
talk against the president, you're blacklisted.
Okay.
But we're not going to go there. So
I could start
yes,
it off.
you're going to start it off. And
So,
finish it too.
decentralized exchanges is pretty much the realm that we're in, pretty much. So the decentralized exchange allows you to be the bank. What is a decentralized exchange? Is where crypto can be traded, swapped, staked, loaned out globally via peer-to-peer, without a middle organization. So the middle organization can be an institution. So you're the bank. What is it? What is DEX stands for? It stands for decentralized exchange. It's where global participants can come and swap crypto with one another. So that's peer-to-peer. You can go ahead with the regulations if you want on that part.
Yeah. I mean, there's no regulations
Right.
in DeFi. I mean, DeFi, they're trying to regulate it, but what they have in DeFi is what they call decentralized autonomous organizations. It's a long fancy word to say that everybody gets a vote. It's not centralized by any person. It's not determined by any group of individuals. So if there is, for example, one of so all of these decentralized exchanges, everybody votes, and then they have a timeline of when that vote runs out. And so if you hold any of the crypto of that exchange, you get to vote on the changes of what they want to implement, new stuff, old stuff. And that's how it works. It's a voting thing. Everybody gets an equal share, and then everybody makes a decision. And whoever, those with the most votes is where the next thing. People with coins introduce, new bills and new ideas, and everybody votes on it. And that's how they actually operate in a decentralized, I want to call it, democracy, really, in a way where it's just everybody votes, everybody has the same equal vote, and then everybody can submit ideas and vote on those ideas.
Yeah, and with the decentralized exchange, it allows you to be your own bank, and what the banks have been able to do in our current status with our money, being in Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and those type banks, on the DeFi or decentralized exchange, it allows us to do what the banks do. And that's why I like the decentralized exchange, because it allows you to be your own bank. It allows you to loan out money, like exactly what Dustin was saying. Some of the benefits of the DeFi. I know it says benefits of central exchanges, should say benefits of decentralized. No KYC is required. So you don't have to give your license or anything like that. You remain anonymous in the decentralized exchange because there's no institution involved. There's no middle person involved. There are lower transaction fees. I mean, transaction fees can go to a cent to.
It just depends on
the network.
Congestion.
Yeah. You retain your crypto. The decentralized exchange cannot take custody of it because you own it, because you're the bank. So just imagine yourself in your home and you have the keys. That's your safe. That's all you. You're the bank. You have access to all projects and all tokens.
So let me jump in here really quick. So what that means essentially is, there in the United States, there's this thing called accredited investors. And accredited investor is somebody who makes about, in excess of $2 million a year. Well, they have access to any investment on the face of the planet. If you make a lot of money, then you're smart. Well, that's not true, but that's essentially what the government says. The government says that if you have, you make 200,000 a year and you have over $2 million, not including your house, then you're smart. whatever. So now you can invest whatever you want, risky, not risky. You're accredited, and there's no real accreditation process. It's just like you got a lot of money. We're gonna give you this accreditation title so you can invest in whatever. So you can invest in hedge funds. You can invest in the actual real estate projects that most people cannot touch,
And they're not privy to.
that don't even get access to, not allowed to hear, not allowed to see. That's what accredited investors are. So in crypto, there's no accreditation. If you have a wallet address, you have access.
Right.
That's it. There's no
censorship.
Yeah, there's no censorship. And so now you can make money in all of the things that everybody else has wealthy people have access to. So you know how that concept everybody says the rich get richer? Well, that's because it's on purpose. They only give rich opportunities to rich people. Well, in crypto, you get it all.
On the DeFi side.
On the DeFi side.
On the DeFi side.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Okay. And again, the DeFi is very, very vast because you have access to all the coins. So like when you look at centralized exchanges, they kind of vet these projects and things like that. So they only house, for the retailer, I'll say that. For the retailer, they'll say, okay, well, you can invest in these coins. And like how Dustin said, how the rich gets richer, then there's another sector on the centralized exchange where they'll say, well, you're one of our top whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Here you have access to these coins.
Because you're accredited.
Right? But on the DeFi side, you have access to everything. Hopefully I explained that. So let me re-explain. So centralized for the retailer, which is, we're not going to say it's us, but we're going to say for the retailer, just the common person, even though they say, oh yeah, I'm investing in crypto. How come I can't get that coin? You'll see it when you start scrolling. You'll be like, man, it won't allow me to buy. Oh, I only could buy these coins. So I guess I'm going to have to, it forces you like, okay, well, I only have access to these coins. So let me just buy these coins.
Yeah.
Now the coins that you do see that are there, they'll have all the charts and things for it. It's made available, like how Dustin said, for the accredited individuals or institutions. But just know that the decentralized exchange, when you get a grasp of that, you have access to everything.
And there's just to be clear, there are sites that are in the DeFi space that do some validation. So they do check out stuff and they do verify if something's a good project or not. So we're not just out there in the wild west. You are able to also do some research, and we've done research, and we want to help people do research as well. So that's kind of the decentralized exchanges. Trustless means that essentially you don't have to worry about a person. You don't have to trust that person like Bernie Madoff, who stole billions, or in this case, this guy who stole billions. you could just, okay, I'm transacting. You have what I need. I want that. You have it. I'll give you this, and we swap and done. And that's it. And that's real. And it's verified through a smart contract and algorithms. So you don't have to worry about it. It's all encrypted. It's all on the blockchain. And so you don't have to worry about it. It's verified. They have it and you want it. Okay, want to trade? Let's trade. And the transaction is done. You don't have to worry about it. It's that's it. And so it's trustless and it's borderless. It's not like, oh, you can't do trades with China. Like if somebody who has what I want is in China, it doesn't matter where they are. We trade. We're done. We got it. Boom. That's good. So here is examples of some decentralized exchanges. There are some unique and creative names. Don't get sent back from that. Yeah, you could talk on that, but don't get disturbed by the names. There's some unique creative names because again, when you have a group of people who trying to create a financial structure that's outside of the corruption of the current system, you're going to get some creativity. So these are some of the largest, if not the largest, decentralized exchanges. Even though they have some goofy, funny looking names. I mean, one's a unicorn, another one is a horse jumping out of a portal, and here's a cake with bunny ears. So, but these are some very legitimate decentralized exchanges, and they have hundreds of billions of dollars, and they do billions of dollars in transaction fees. You want me to share that real quick?
Yeah, since we're going to get into wallets, just wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the next thing, right?
Yeah. We want me to pull the site up?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to share this really quick. So Takia just sent this to me just so you can see that. Yeah.
Bank of America is getting people ready for digital wallets, and we're going to explain that, and just letting you know that. Remember in the beginning of what we were talking about in the beginning, I said that they were piloting.
Mm-hmm.
They're now launched it, digital wallets, and they're allowing you, to watch their informational video. So
Yeah.
it's here.
It's here.
Just put that out there.
It's here. All right. So we'll go ahead and go into wallets, and I think that it will be done here in just a second. I'm going to close this. There we go. All right. So we are jumping into, we talked the pros and cons. All right. Crypto wallets. You want me to do this? You got this? You want me, what is it?
Yeah, I could do it.
All right. Let me say something really quick.
Okay, go ahead.
So crypto wallets, right? Crypto wallets. And this is the last part we're going to cover. Appreciate y'all patience. I know it's been long class. We want to kind of, get through what we can get through here at the end of this. So crypto wallets. The one thing I want to say before you go is there's a phrase that you should remember. You should let it stick with you.
Yeah.
You should keep it. It's not your keys. If it's not your keys, it's not your crypto. So if your crypto is in a wallet and you don't have the keys to that wallet, then it doesn't belong to you, even if you put it there. All right, I'm done.
You can go ahead. Go ahead. You can go.
You want to go?
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. There's 3 types of wallets. I want to show you how it works and what it is. So definition of crypto wallet. Crypto wallet is a program that allows you to store your crypto. You can send your crypto. You can receive crypto from this one program. All digital currencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and you use a unique code to keep your currency, your digital currency or cryptocurrency safe and secure. So what that means
that people scan,
the QRF code.
So it's kind of like a QRF code.
Yeah. So what this means is that because it's all digital, the wallet is digital. Now there's 3 types of wallets. We're going to get in that second. But what it means is this is in your wallet. In that space, you can send crypto, you can receive crypto, you can keep crypto. And then you get a unique code that only you have when you create the wallet that allows you to transact. Nobody else can see this code. You don't have to keep putting it in. You don't have to keep, store. So if you lose your wallet, say for example, you have your wallet on your phone. And let me show you my phone really quick. Bear me 1 second. I'm going to show a digital wallet that I have. Bear me a second. I'm sorry. I want you to see this. Let me show another one. There we go. That's the right wallet. Okay. So this is here we go. Let me put it up here. This is what I'm not going to tell you exactly what this. We'll talk about this in some details. But this is on a wallet on my phone, and you can see here it has crypto in it, and so you can see some crypto in here, and essentially at the top, is where your crypto is up, stuff like that. So in this wallet, so I'm giving keys to that wallet when I created that wallet, and so then I put in those keys. That's it. I only have them. If I lose my phone, if I lose my app, if everything falls apart, as long as I have my keys, I can get a new phone, download that wallet, put the keys in, and then I'm good. It restores everything. It's not gone.
Yep. She said, interesting. She said, I had a dream about 2 different wallets along with a third in my hand, and I didn't have a clue.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah, but we will.
Yeah, it's here.
It's here, and we are here to teach and to empower and things like that.
Yeah.
That's
everything is moving to wallets. Everything is moving to wallets. And so we everything is moving to wallets. I don't know how else to say that. So
it's already here. We just showed Bank of America.
Yeah.
You can actually watch the video.
Yeah.
I'm sure Wells Fargo's in that thing too.
Yep.
So just go on their website, I'm sure, or whoever you're banking with, and you just say, hey, talk with them on chat. I'm sure they don't really have much information because they're not ready to let everybody know. But
yes, exactly. Sam, yeah, we'll touch on that later. It's not in this class, but we can definitely discuss. We got some other classes we're going to share and some different things like mining and in staking that we're going to go into as
Yield
well.
farming.
Yield farming. So there's yes.
NFTs.
To answer your question, um, yes, but we'll talk more about it so that we can kind of get you set up in the future and things like that. So let me go through the wallet. Here's a kind of breakdown of how the wallet works. So, and I'm not going to go read everything here, but long story short, this is how it works. You set your wallet up, download it, or you buy it. Once you get your wallet, then you get your keys. You put your keys in, or it's already stored there. And then the last piece right here, it says verifying or mining. Essentially, this is what happens when you transact. So the miners make money on verifying the transaction. So when you say, oh, you got network fees. So if I send to Kia a Bitcoin and I got to pay a fee, that fee goes to the miner for validating that transaction to say it's legitimate. That's where miners get fees from. So I have to pay a fee to send it to her. She doesn't have to pay a fee to get it. If she sends it to me, she has to pay a fee to send it to me, but doesn't have to pay a fee for me to receive it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to pay a fee to send. I have to pay a fee to approve, which is a very tiny little fee.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I'm doing any staking or yield farming, then there's a different fee for that too. So there's fees that miners get or fees that stakers get, depending on if it's proof of work or proof of proof of stake. Yeah. So and we'll get again into the next classes that we have.
the next classes that we
It's
have
a lot
for
of information.
that. It's a lot of information,
but
so
it'll come together. So don't worry. But essentially, this is how a wallet works. You set your wallet up, you get your keys
or password. That's what it is.
Yes, exactly. And so when I send crypto to Kia, I have to approve that in my wallet. This is what the verification of mining step 3 is. So that's what that is. I say, yes, approve this transaction. It's not going to just happen magically. It doesn't just send it. I'm like, no, I didn't mean to do that. I have to verify that transaction, verify it's right, verify that it's her address, and then approve that transaction. That fee goes through, and then boom, number 4 received, and it's done.
Yeah, it's fast.
And that's it.
Yeah,
it takes minutes.
But there's
or seconds.
There's a method to it, and once you master the method, we had a family member say you need to know how to buy, sell, and send. And if you can master that,
then you got it.
Then you got it.
Oh, we're gonna get to that. So good question, Sam. Boom. So next question. So here's the different wallets. Cold wallet, warm wallet, and hot wallet. I'm going to go backwards so that we can make sense of this. A hot wallet is the wallet that when you open up a bank, Lord help me, when you open up an account with Coinbase or you open up an account with one of these central exchanges, you get a wallet.
An institution.
Yes, an institution, central institution. It's a hot wallet. It's hot because it can be hacked. It's hot because it's out there. It's
and
hot
you don't have the keys.
It's exposed. It's hot because you don't have the keys. It's hot because it's not yours. So it's like this. This is a hot, well, this is not a hot wallet. No, it's like me walking around with cash in my hand, essentially. It's not secure because if that central exchange, like again, this guy, if he has your money and you, that's hot. You want to stay away from that. So we have hot wallets.
We're not saying it's bad.
We're saying it's not the most secure. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, we're saying it's
the easiest to use. Because as soon as you send money, you add your credit card to these central exchanges and you move some dollars over, then that's good.
They want the masses on the hot wallet.
Yeah. And you're on-ramping. It's not bad. It works. It's good for you. You want a central exchange because you can change your fiat into crypto. And then once it goes into crypto, we never make it go. It never goes back to cash for us. It's just we're all in a whole nother plane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we have crypto cards that we can just Anyways. So hot wallet is owned by the centralized exchange. The warm wallet is the one that I showed you. It's warm because it's secure. I have my keys. It's on my phone. It's digital. But because it's on the internet, because it's connected to the internet, then it is warm. It's a little more risky because, again, it's on my phone And if somebody gets access to my phone and gets into it, then and they know how to use crypto and change stuff, then there's the risks there. So it's warm because it's not hot. I own the keys, but it's not cold because it's on the internet. And so it's a point of failure. If somebody gets my phone and can get into my phone, then they can get into my crypto. If they can get into my, at Face ID or my PIN code. So that's why it's warm. I like a warm wallet because I'm pretty confident in keeping my phone safe. I'm pretty confident in putting my passcode in or my Face ID, locking it down. I'm pretty comfortable with keeping stuff secure on my phone. So
yeah, either way, they're still gonna need the keys.
but yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
it's your keys.
It's your
so you
keys.
have your keys to that wallet, so it's your money. Now, a cold wallet is an actual physical device,
I want me to go get it.
or if you want to,
I'll go
or
right.
a piece of paper. Or a piece of paper. The function of the cold wallet is never connected to the internet. So it can never be hacked. Ever. It can never be hacked. Because it never connects to anything. So once you set it up and you plug, say, this whole wallet to your computer, the program on your computer talks to the wallet, but that wallet in being plugged into your computer never connects to the internet. Only thing that's connected to your internet is the computer. There's an encryption, a 256-bit encryption on the actual wallet that does not allow you to connect to the internet. So now anything that you store, transact, any buying and selling, trading, all happens on that wallet. It is secure. And the safest place for it is a piece of paper if you have all your codes on a piece of paper. Now, that's the most difficult form to keep track of, but it is offline. So this is called the Ledger Nano.
Here it is.
There you go. It was upside down. Ledger is the company. Ledger, Ledger. They make multiple different secure offline wallets that are all cold. They have big ones, small ones. They have, different kinds, and they are the best. They have the best encryption. They have the best, technology. You can store your crypto on this. This one looks like a flash drive. They have other ones that don't. They have some that look like a card. So Ledger is the name of the wallet. Ledger, and they have different ones, and you can find the one that fits your price or your preference. You can do some research on them. We have a few, but Ledger is the company that we trust, that we've been using for years. The way we do our crypto, anything that goes on our Ledger never comes off.
Yeah, so those are
It is our vault. It is
our long-term investments.
Yes, it's our safe security lockbox vault, and nothing. Yes, long-term investment. So when we send anything to our Ledger, it is there for multiple years before we even transact anything on there. Yes. You go to I think it's ledger.com.
Yeah, and if you sometimes they'll sell like a 3-pack. So like if you have family members that want to go in on it, or want to be educated on it, then you can kind of split the cost on that. That's what we did initially. Yes.
Yep. So
they had like a 3 or 4-pack, and we're just like, okay, we did a family pack. So we did the family pack on that. So I'm just throwing that out there, but
here it is. And so here's Ledger. This is the one we have, the Nano X or the S. We have the Nano S. They have the Nano S Plus now. Here's the X. The difference between these is just this one. This one's larger than this one, but the security is strong. And then here's the newest one that hasn't come out yet, which is the Stacks. It has a lot more room for more crypto. And it really is. But all three of these are cold wallets. They're very good. We're trusted. They're very encrypted. You can have your NFTs on there. You can have your crypto on there. I mean, there is a very secure, and we've been using it for 2018, 2017.
Yeah.
So we trust them, and we haven't had any issues with them. Again, if you lose it, if you drop it, if you break it, if you crush it, if you throw it in the toilet, as long as you got your keys, you could just get a new one and replace it. They are priced at, that's a good question. I think the S is
$30, $40.
They've
up.
Gone up. So this one is $79. It's their smallest one. $79 US. for the Ledger Nano S Plus. If you go to the Ledger X, which has Bluetooth technology in, it's a 149. They run sales, they run discounts. You just got to catch them on a good day.
You
And then
might
the
could catch
newest,
them on Memorial Day weekend.
yeah,
Maybe they'll have
they run
a
sales.
sales and things, and sometimes they have a family pack on sale. So if you have friends or family, you can like kind of split that up.
Exactly. But yes, and so this is the newest one that's come out. They haven't set a price for it yet, but yeah. So we're in a good place with this. I recommend having all three wallets because you need them in different ways.
Yeah,
You
you're
need
going to need the hot wallet because right now you're going to go from the DeFi space to the centralized space. And so you're going to have to convert that over to US dollars if you need it to make transactions in your everyday.
yeah. So like for me, I
So
have
you
a
would need
reoccurring.
all three.
Exactly. So I have a reoccurring, like I invest in crypto on a reoccurring basis. Every 2 weeks, I move some cash into one of my centralized broker exchanges, and then I convert that to crypto. It automatically purchased the crypto for me. I don't have to do all the manual work, and then I move that out to my warm wallet. Stuff that I'm building long term goes to my cold wallet. Stuff that I am, holding for investment purposes, say I want to stake it or lend it out, that goes into my warm wallet where I'm doing more exchanges with that stuff. So if you're doing a lot of transactions, warm, cold, long term, hot wallet is just an onboarding. You just onboard with that. And so you want all three. We keep our keys in a secure place. The best way to do it, because nanos come with, I think we have some extras in here. They come with a key card. Here, let me show you. So they come with this key card and you write down your keys. It will tell you your keys and you write them down. Don't put this on the internet. Just put it in a safe box that you have a key to. Put it
Or memorize it.
or memorize it. My mind is
Yeah, some
full of other
people
stuff.
use songs
Yep.
or lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
It's however you would want to do it.
Yeah. But I recommend just writing it down and put it in a very secure location. Like if you have your passport or your social security card somewhere that you don't actually take everywhere with you. Some people carry their social security card with them.
Oh, she did ask, is there any programs that you recommend for those who want to continue to learn to trade and crypto? There's so much information. Now, you could go on Coinbase. Coinbase, as you learn about a coin, you can actually get a free coin, get free coins. So if you go on Coinbase.com, download that app. I think crypto.com is actually doing an educational portion too. So I recommend maybe just a Coinbase right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll give you like free coins. So you start building up your portfolio on a centralized exchange. So
Yeah,
you could check that out.
yeah. Coinbase.com, and then you go through their little free classes in the app on their phone.
You answer the questions right, you get a coin.
Give you free crypto.
They give you free crypto.
Little small amounts, but it builds up. We had a coin where we did that once, and then it turns it was like $1,000. That
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Crazy. So yeah, just you get coins, you hold it. You don't do anything with them. You just move them off into your warm wallet, and then hold them there. And that way, when you want to change them, you can switch them back out. But yeah, so that is a good idea. The other thing is we're going to be having a lot more classes, a lot more education, a lot more teaching, a lot more YouTube lives, a lot more streaming, a lot more things coming in the future. And so yeah, just stay tuned for that because we're going to be offering a lot more information that we know, but it can be a lot. All right, towards the end, you want to do this? Hit it?
Yeah, okay. There are so we were explaining, there are so many opportunities in crypto. There are crypto projects which translate over to coins. There's staking and there's yield farming. So all these things are the things that you're seeing in the old banking system that we weren't privy to, but in the crypto space we are. You could do trading, so you could trade Bitcoin, you could trade Ethereum, just like how you would trade for an exchange like the USD versus the JPY and things like that. So the trading opportunities there, you could do futures with crypto, you could do options with Bitcoin with crypto. So just the same thing that is out there on the old system, just know in the crypto space you're able to do it. You're able to lend, you're able to send payments. Now, the other thing, which we're going to get into, but not here in this course, but in this portion, you're able to do NFTs. And NFTs is you can put your book as an NFT, games, art. So if you're an artist and you paint, you can create an NFT for your art. If you have music or a really cool jingle that maybe a new movie wants to use, they're like, hey, we need a theme song or X, Y, and Z. You can make that as an NFT.
Right.
And there's so much more in the NFT space. Now, the other space, this is why I said that crypto is so vast. We're now dealing with the metaverse. And a lot of companies are ramping up for the metaverse, right? Because you're thinking that Teams is one thing. But when you're putting on a VR and you're going into a meeting, it's a whole different planet.
Yes.
And it's here. They're already piloting it. So metaverse is here. You'll be able to buy Nike. I mean, Nike already has like
rights in the metaverse.
Rights in the metaverse. So if you're gonna fix up
patents and licenses,
if you're gonna fix up your avatar, and you're like, hey, I want some Nikes.
They've already licensed the Nike.
They already licensed the Nike shoes in the metaverse. If you want to go shopping, they'll actually send that thing via drone to your house.
Yes.
It is so surreal. You could go shopping in the metaverse just the same way
real
as you
money.
would with real money or crypto.
Yeah.
And it'll still come to your house just the same way as you just online shopping. They're just making it a little bit more virtual where you actually can walk through the store.
Yeah, in a digital world.
In a digital world without even leaving your house.
So really quick, Sam, NFT, non-fungible token, it doesn't mean anything. But what it technically means is that it's a one-of-a-kind item. So essentially, if you have music and you put that music on the blockchain, say, for example, you create it, and then we'll have to go into a detail. It's not going to be easy to explain. But if you have a painting or if you have music, you can actually create that and then load it to the blockchain, and then everybody now it's out there in the blockchain, but it says that you are the one who did it. It's your wallet. And so now everybody for the rest of the eternity knows that it's your wallet. And so what happens is if you sell that to somebody, then what happens is
you'll
now
get
that
royalties.
You because it came from your wallet when it originally got minted, that anybody who sells that you would automatically get royalties forever, because it'll always know where it came from. So it'll pay you royalties forever, because the algorithm and the smart contracts will always check where the original source of that came from.
Yeah.
And it'll just send you part of the transaction. And so if it gets sold and it's 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 sold, every time it changes hands, it doesn't matter where it goes. It doesn't matter who gets it. It doesn't matter who licensed it out. It's going to always know that your wallet was the source wallet, and it's always going to give you royalty transaction piece of that, and you're always going to put part. And it's a beautiful thing because it doesn't require companies and businesses to do it. The smart chain is
ASCAP or BMI, because
it's just done in
if these platforms do not pivot, like BMI, ASCAP, and a lot of artists have already transitioned over.
Yes.
Or are transitioning over into the metaverse and this whole NFT space of getting their own royalties. So
because it's just built into the technology.
Just built into the technology, built into the blockchain technology. So
we're working on it. It's coming.
It's coming. It's in progress.
So we're launching. We're working. There's a lot of things to put together. We want to do it. But I think that's everything. I think that's
pretty much everything that we have.
You want to go back to pictures? That's us.
Hi, everybody.
And then, okay. So Q&A, I think, okay. So what we'll do, because I don't know how we can.
We'll have to do.
This is what we'll do for the Q&A section. We're going to do a follow-up. We're going to do a follow-up because we want people to kind of come online. And we want everybody to, we want to be able to ask questions, get on camera, get on mics. And so we'll do a Q&A. We'll tell, we'll announce it ahead of time. So that way we can have more dialogue and more conversations and go into the details of this, because this is a lot. I mean, it really is a lot, but
and in our course, we're going to break down the anatomy of centralized exchange and the anatomy of the decentralized exchange. And then, of course, go into depth into NFTs and the metaverse and things like that. So it is so vast. There's so much information, and we are here to share it. So, again, thank you for joining us, Kingdom Rich, and we have more to come.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it. So yeah, well, stay tuned. We'll be making announcements for next classes, next, conversation pieces, and so much more.
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, we'll have. I like that idea. Yeah, we'll have certifications, and potentially some
Bitcoins,
giveaways, some Bitcoin,
some T-shirts, some things like that.
So it'll be good. It'll be good. But look, we're gonna wrap up here. Thank you so much. You have a great night. And we will have the, we'll make that announcement when we have our next class and next pieces and the next steps.
I hope this helped you. And thanks again.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.